Only 2 months after being released by WWE, Samoa Joe has found himself back in the graces of the company, but on the NXT brand. Eva Marie has made a return back to the ring and has brought a friend with her, and fans are not having it. We're also talking Impact Against All Odds, the future of Kenny Omega and Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and the future of their Wrestle Grand Slam tour, also previewing a bit of their matches with the Young Lions. AEW is going to be back touring and going to be doing a 25,000 seat arena. We're talking a bit about that and ending this podcast off with the Tokyo Dream Cinderella show hosted by Stardom last weekend. Guys, this is the 52nd episode of the Chill Spill podcast. Yes, it's silent, by the way. Yo, what is going on, guys? It is your boy Tyler Mask, aka Suplex. That's SOOPLEX on TikTok and SOOPLEXX on Twitch, aka Tyler Coon Williams, aka the one who lived. And guys, welcome back to the 52nd edition of the Chill Spill podcast, and that is Spill spelled with an S. But it's silent, much like all the AEW fans were when they found out that Samoa Joe did end up re-signing with WWE. I was one of them. I was a little hoping that we were going to see Samoa Joe walk into an AEW or Ring of Honor or Impact or anywhere. But I guess that's the first thing I want to talk about here. Samoa Joe has in fact re-signed with WWE. He was released with the crop of guys back in April. The contract, I believe, for he and the other wrestlers, Peyton Royce, Billy Kay, Mickey James, all those guys, I believe their 90 days is up next month, like right before Slammiversary. So if he would have waited out another month, he could have went somewhere else, but I guess the WWE money is good enough. Guess that relationship he has with the company is strong enough that he went back to them. Which, I'm not super upset about it. I'd say I'm not upset at all about it. I mean, it's his life. If he wants to go back to WWE, despite them releasing him, that's on him. I mean, let me not say that's on him. That's his prerogative. That's his mindset. I don't know what the mindset is behind it. But, obviously he likes the company enough to go back to them. If there was any bad blood, hatred, animosity, he would have said no. He would have kept it pushing. But he went back. And listen. It is not just in any role. He didn't get re-signed and go back to Raw or SmackDown, because I would have been very puzzled if that happened. But no, he actually went back to his home of NXT. And I say home because that's kind of where I really... That would be a lie if I said that, because I actually got exposed to Samoa Joe in his TNA days. But that's where Samoa Joe started off in WWE, I put it that way. 2016 when he came in, I remember, actually it was 2015 when he came in. I remember it was an episode of NXT, and it was back when Kevin Owens was the NXT champion. And I remember because Samoa Joe came out to this very weird, I don't know what it was. It was the same intro. It was the bum, 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 bum. It was that intro, but instead of the whole bum, 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 instead of that, it was like this, I don't know how to, it was weird. It was like some jazz, I don't know what it was, but it was so odd, and they never did it again, which I'm thankful for. But I remember that song hit, and then Samoa Joe came out, and the crowd just went insane. I went insane at home, and he went toe-to-toe with Kevin Owens, and they had one match, and they went to like a double count-out, and then Kevin Owens got called up to the main roster. And Samoa Joe stayed at NXT for about a year, I believe. About a year and a half. Was NXT champion 2 times. I believe he beat Shinsuke Nakamura both of those times for the championship and lost it to Finn Balor. No, he beat Shinsuke once and then he beat Finn Balor the second time. But, he had a good run at NXT. Then he went to the main roster and had an okay run. I mean, he's a U.S. champion, but that's about it. He was only the U.S. champion. I don't remember him winning any other championship on the main roster. Now, if I'm wrong, please correct me, but I believe Samoa Joe was only a U.S. champion. And that's if I'm remembering that correctly. I might be confusing with Kevin Owens after all. But anyway, he is back on the NXT brand. Last weekend at NXT TakeOver In Your House, which I did not watch. That shows you how little investment I have in NXT. I didn't watch TakeOver. And I've been watching every TakeOver for years. But I missed this takeover. I ain't gonna lie, I missed the last takeover before that too. I caught like bits and pieces of it, but I missed the last man, NXT is just not the same, bro. And it really sucks. And I heard the takeover wasn't even that good to begin with. I heard it wasn't even all that good. I mean, it was good enough, but I heard it wasn't like, takeover levels of great. But on that show, William Regal basically all but said it's time for a change, implying that he'll be stepping down as NXT general manager. Now that kind of upset me because, William Regal, for the years I watched NXT, William Regal was the GM, and he was a phenomenal GM. Impartial, always play by the rules. His he was not as afraid of anybody. He didn't let anybody push him around. Always making great matches. War games! Like, you can't beat William Regal, man. When I'm going to look back at who are some of the best influential general managers of my generation, or really any generation years to come, William Regal's in that discussion, man. When you talk about the best general managers in WWE history, you're going to talk about Eric Bischoff. If you dare call Vicky Guerrero in that category for being a great heel GM, you could say Vicky. You could throw Theodore Long in there, but you would be an absolute liar if you did not throw William Regal in that discussion, because he absolutely was a tremendous general manager. So when I heard that, I was a little upset. Even though I don't watch NXT, I was upset by that. But then this week on NXT came out, and it all seemed like doom and gloom. This is his time. He's stepping away. He was cut off by Karrion Kross, and they had some exchanges. And during this exchange, we heard the theme song play, and out comes Samoa Joe, suited up and all. And I'm like, oh, so he's taking William Regal's place as GM. Okay. I like Samoa Joe. He's great on the mic. Good in the ring. You could say great in his prime in the ring. But I don't know how I feel about Samoa Joe in that GM role. I mean, I thought he was really good on commentary from the sessions I heard of him on commentary. But I'm like, Samoa Joe's a GM. He's more suited as a wrestler. But I mean, if he's not going to be wrestling, okay, that makes sense. But it just reminds me of Daniel Bryan all over again, So William Regal proposes to Samoa Joe the opportunity to replace him as the NXT general manager. Now, at first, Samoa Joe declined. And I was like, oh, okay, so he's going to come back to the ring. I don't know why he suited up to do that, but okay, that's a nice little, twist. But he puts over William Regal heavy, which is a very cool thing, because back when Samoa Joe was in NXT, he had no respect for William Regal. I mean, this dude used to push him around. And one of my all-time favorite segments in NXT history was the segment when it was Samoa Joe doing the contract signing for his match with Shinsuke Nakamura. And he was yelling at William Regal to come and hand him the contract, because William Regal was in the ring and Samoa Joe was on the stage. And he's like, I'm not coming to you, Regal. You're coming to me. And you're going to give me that contract. And William Regal's talking, and Samoa Joe's like, what don't you understand? Bring me my contract. And then William Regal's starting to walk out of the ring. And he's like, oh, Mr. Regal, hurry up. Oh, man. To this very day, whenever I think of Samoa Joe, one of the first things I think of was that segment. It is still one of my favorite segments in NXT history. Of all the promos, of all the things that may have happened outside of in-ring competition in NXT, I remember that almost the most fondly. But yeah, so seeing this is like full circle. I clapped. I am not gonna lie, I clapped. I was like, yeah, yes, respect for him finally. And he's like, I'm not gonna let anybody disrespect you, Regal. I'm here to reassure that everyone has the same level of respect for you that I have for you. And I'm like, okay, so he's an enforcer. And then he leaves us off with getting up and Karrion Kross's face, and he's like, well, since that's all done, I gotta ask something. What are you still doing in this ring? And he gets all up in Karrion Kross's face, and we're like, ooh. But the thing is, William Regal agreed to that, but under some conditions. That Samoa Joe cannot compete, which the crowd booed, and I booed too. And he said he cannot lay a hand on anyone unless provoked. And I'm like, ooh, that unless provoked is going to lead into something. I can feel it. He called, he said Karrion Kross, TikTok young champion. they're teasing us, even though I don't think we're getting this match. I don't know what the point of that was, but it got me all excited because there's a lot they could do with Samoa Joe. And we got to see like a little bit of it because there was a backstage segment. I know from how I'm describing it, it seems like I watched NXT this week. I didn't. I just caught some of the clips. I heard NXT was really good this week, so I might even have to check it out myself for my downtime. But Samoa Joe was, backstage trying to break up a fight between Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. And Adam Cole actually, I think he swatted he swatted himself. He swatted Samoa Joe away. And Joe was ticked off, and he put him to sleep with the coquina clutch. And I'm like, oh shit, oh my god, man. Watching this, it actually got me excited. Like, this might have been like the first time in a long, long time I was actually genuinely excited for anything NXT has done. Like, this is legitimately the first time I was excited for anything they've done. And this is like Samoa Joe. And you know what it is? It's the nostalgia feeling, because this took me back to a time when I actually thoroughly enjoyed NXT. When I actually watched NXT week in and week out, didn't miss an episode, didn't miss a takeover. So seeing Samoa Joe back in that spot, kind of rekindling that little rivalry with William Regal, now having that presence on the brand, and everyone saying that was a good episode of NXT, and seeing the debut of Blake Christian and, Christian Casanova, two of my favorite independent wrestlers. Man, I've said this about New Japan. I've said this about WWE. I'll say it about NXT, and I'll say it for any wrestling company out there that pisses me off. I'm more than willing to give them another try as long as they bring it. As long as NXT's going to be bringing the heat and give me a reason to watch the show, fuck, I'll watch the show. I'll check it out. Shit. Got me all hyped up. So, that's Samoa Joe. Happy to see him back. Now, we gonna talk a little bit more about WWE here before we hop into some other news. Eva Marie. I know a lot of you hate Eva Marie, and I can understand why you do. I'm not gonna go as far to say I hate Eva Marie, but, I'm not a fan of her in-ring work. But she was basically rumored to be coming back to the brand for months now, and then about a month or so ago, we got the promo package that announced that she'll be coming back to Monday Night Raw. And this week was her debut. Or was supposed to be. She was going to be facing off against Naomi, which was very cunning considering that her last opponent before leaving WWE back in 2017 was against Naomi. So that was her opponent on Raw. And Naomi comes out, and I actually did watch this clip on Raw on YouTube. I did not watch Raw. Y'all already know that. But Eva Marie theme song hits. It's different from her old theme song, which I'm like, I would have rather her old theme. But, change is nice, I guess. So Eva Marie comes out, and right behind her is none other than NXT UK's Piper Niven. And I'm like, that's a surprise. I didn't expect to see Piper Niven on the show, especially considering she was in the UK. And okay. And this is gonna sound mean. This might sound rude, and I'm gonna make it so that way it's not rude, it's not mean, because that's not how I try to come off. But Piper Niven is not what WWE is going to push as their, lead female on the roster. She's just not. And you could look at her and you could say many things as to why. I'm not going to point them out. But I think she is a great wrestler. I've seen plenty of great matches from her. Her work in NXT UK, her work in Eve, her work in Stardom. Like, I've seen her work. She's really good. But there are qualities about her that, from how this company books their roster, that I don't think she will fit into. And it sucks because I think that should not be the case. I think that you should be, pushed because of your talent and not because of how you look or how you're perceived. But I don't think she will. And then, on top of that, the gimmick they gave her, when she came out, she had her hair up in these, childish, ponytails, and she was all, giddy and by Eva's side, and Eva's all serious, and I'm like, oh, she's the clingy best friend. She's like the, oh, hi. She's like the over-the-top, clingy high school best friend. I'm like, oh, this is her gimmick. She's not even the heavy. She's not even, the buff, badass heavy. She's the clingy high school best friend, girlfriend thing. I'm like, oh, y'all, they're messing her up from the jump, bro. They're not even giving her a fair shot. Oh my God. They doing my girl Piper dirty. Doing her dirty already. Now, the best they gave her was a win over Naomi, so that was good. Eva Marie did not wrestle not one point in this match. They got into the ring, and they're like, ring the bell, and Piper Niven's in the ring. Now, here's the interesting about this, too, is that they did not address her as Piper Niven. Better yet, they didn't even announce her name. They pretended like they didn't even know who the hell she was. Which is funny, because she is on NXT UK. NXT UK. A brand of NXT, which is a brand of World Wrestling Entertainment. It's not like NXT UK is some different promotion. NXT UK is literally one of your own shows. How do they not? You know who Walter was. Walter was fucking at Survivor Series 2 years ago. They know who Pete Dunne is. Pete Dunne's been on Raw a few times. So how do they not know who Piper Niven is? You know Rhea Ripley is, you know who Tony Storm is, but nope, Piper Niven, mystery. So that made no fucking sense. Then on top of that, they didn't give her a new name, which I think is a blessing in disguise, because from what I read, apparently they were thinking about naming her Doudrop, which isn't even remotely funny, because I know where the name Doudrop comes from. And even if I don't know where it comes from, I can assume where the name Doudrop is going to be resonating from, and that's just not even funny. So I'm hoping that that's not going to be her name, because shame on them if they name her that. But Doudrop? Am I saying, is it Doudrop? It looks like Dough, because I see Doudrop. D-O-U is Dough. Doudrop? Like, I seriously hope that's not what they're going to name her, because I saw in a comment section there were people already body shaming her, and I'm like, y'all think this is going to get better by y'all naming her Doudrop of all things? So thankfully, it might have been better that they didn't name her. So my hoping is that they give her something way better. I have an idea. Why don't you fucking call her Piper Niven and acknowledge her as a wrestler for NXT UK? Why do they always pretend like NXT UK doesn't exist? They do this all the fucking time. All the time. You watch Raw, you watch SmackDown, I don't know if you watch, they do NXT, but how often, or actually, how little does this brand ever acknowledge NXT UK? Do people even know that Walter is still the NXT UK champion? Or who's on that brand? Like, I swear to God, unless you follow WWE on Twitter, you would not know this brand even exists. They do such a piss poor job of promoting it just because it's not on TV. But anyway, so Piper Niven is going to be with Eva Marie. It looks like Eva Marie's job, once again, is going to be not... Here's what also confuses me. Why do they keep re-signing Eva Marie if she's never going to do shit? What, like, is she just... I shouldn't even be asking. That's all she is, eye candy. And you know what? It might sound sexist, and I swear to God it is not, but please tell me what Eva Marie's role is other than to be good looking. Because if she's not going to wrestle, what is she going to fill? It's not the first time WWE has done this. Don't act oblivious. Don't act stupid. Not the first time they've run this gimmick. Go back to Emelina 3 years ago. Go back to Lana when she was first debuting. Go back to just about any blonde wrestler that is not a Charlotte Flair. So I don't understand. I don't know. It's like, for the heel heats, I think Eva Marie is a great meme. You know, you signed a person who can't wrestle. I mean, we don't know that she can't wrestle because she didn't wrestle yet, but from what I'm assuming, the fact that she hasn't wrestled is leading me to assume that she still isn't very good. You signed somebody who can't wrestle for what? You're paying her on your payroll for what? She's not even good on the microphone. If she's not good on the mic, and she's not good in the ring, what is the purpose of you having her on your roster? Why is she on your payroll? I don't know. They have their priorities all mixed up, but yet they sat here and they released Peyton Royce, Billy Kay, Mickie James. That is your favorite wrestling company for you. For all of you that still watch this shit. Anyway, Still on the topic of WWE, I want to talk about what Triple H said a few days ago during a press conference for the NXT TakeOver show. So Triple H is on a media call, as he does for just about every TakeOver. And normally he doesn't say anything out of the ordinary. He answers questions from the media. This time, however, he got a bit snippy with the news reporters, which is interesting because I don't see Triple H really ever, break. I wasn't going to say snap because it's not like he really lashed out anybody, but he was a bit out of tune from the tone he usually has with these interviews. So somebody, I think it was Dave Meltzer, asked Triple H about the frustrations of NXT talent when they go to the main roster and they get misused, like the frustrations regarding them, like how are they doing? And Triple H responded with, "It's so funny to me how sometimes in our business, everyone is so worried about where someone else is going or how they land, or how is this going to play out long term in the future. How about watch it? Do you like it or do you not like it? Do you have to say, I like it, but I like this other thing more? Just watch it or don't. And stop trying to figure out where everything goes. Fans ruin their own stuff half the time trying to figure out where everything goes and why it's going there and how. And then trying to pick up their phone and search the thing and find out what it is can ruin it for them so they aren't surprised when it happens. I don't understand that." Okay, so Triple H is right. I don't think Triple H is wrong in anything he said. I mean, for the most part, he's speaking facts for the most part, and I'm gonna touch on why I say for the most part. But let's dissect what he said. Okay, everyone is so worried where someone else is going, or how they land, or how this is gonna play out long term. How about watch it? Do you like it or do you not like it? Do you have to say, I like it, but I like this other thing more? Just watch it or don't. So to touch back on the first part, everyone is so worried where someone else is going or where they land. Are we not supposed to care about these guys after they leave NXT? Like, I don't really get that first portion. Of course, we're going to be concerned about where they're going. If I'm tuned into this Matt Riddle guy, who I was really, high on before he got signed to NXT, and I've been following this guy for like 2-3 years, and now he's on the NXT brand, and now he's no longer on the NXT brand. Let's kayfabe it. Let's act like I don't know shit about pro wrestling Twitter or the IWC or Dave Meltzer or Brian Alvarez or we don't know about any of the smarky shit, right? Let's play dumb. I don't know about any of that. Should I not be concerned about why I don't see Matt Riddle on NXT? Should I not be concerned? Or should I not be excited for him going to Raw or SmackDown? Like, I don't understand that question. But then we move on. How about watch it? Just watch it or don't. It goes back to the whole, if you don't like it, don't watch it argument. Which, listen, I think it is very stupid for anybody who runs a business or, runs a certain media outlet to say, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Because essentially, you're just driving your fans away by saying that. You're telling people that, hey, if you don't like what we're putting on, we're not going to try to make our product better for you. We're just going to advise that you go find something better to do. Because obviously, what we're doing is not made for you anymore. It's a pretty shitty thing to say out loud to your audience. If you're a fan and you're saying that to another fan, you just seem like a white knight. But when you're the actual owner of the brand and you're saying that, it's like, okay. Now, when I leave and I go give AEW my money, don't say shit to me, boy. But here, let me break it down like this. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Nobody likes to hear it. I don't like to hear when people tell me if you don't like it, don't watch it. But at the end of the day, it's kind of true. If you don't like what you're watching, nobody's forcing you to watch it. You're not obligated to tune into it every week. So stop watching it if you don't like it. And you know what? You're right. And you want to know what else? I have. Raw, stop watching it. SmackDown, stop watching it. NXT, don't watch it. So I heeded your advice. And you want to know what else? Many of the fans over the last few years, they also heeded that advice. How come you went from 4 million viewers back in 2016 to 1.47 million in 2021? The NXT ratings, they dropped a lot since AEW came around. People watch NXT less ever since the move to... I mean, they've been watching NXT less since like 2019, 2018, honestly. But people watch NXT less. They prioritize AEW. You think saying this to those people is going to motivate them to want to watch NXT? No, it's just going to make them not want to watch even more. Because I tell you, seeing this, yeah, that doesn't spark a lot of intrigue in the brand, seeing Triple H say that. But then we continue on. And stop trying to figure out where everything goes. Fans ruin their own stuff half the time trying to figure out where everything goes and why it's going there and how. And then try to pick up their phones and search for things to find out, which can ruin it for them. So they aren't surprised when it happens. I don't understand that. You know what? Triple H is not wrong in that sense. We do often ruin shit for our own selves. We do often ruin shit for ourselves. You know what? I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. Oftentimes, I do look up shit about NXT and WWE and Raw and SmackDown. Why? Because I don't fucking watch this shit anymore. But I don't want to completely add out of my life. I'm not at that point yet. At some point, I might get to that point where I don't give a shit entirely and just not even think about watching WWE ever again. I still touch upon it here and there. But you know what I mean? Like, I keep up, especially if you have a podcast or you have your own YouTube channel. Yeah, you kind of have to keep up what's going on behind the scenes. Should we? No, not really. We shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have to. As fans, we have zero obligation to go behind the scenes and look into all this stuff. But it is the culture we have grown into. Nowadays, if you don't know about this shit, you're not considered a smart wrestling fan. If you're not a smart wrestling fan, then what are you? You're a casual. No one wants to take your opinion seriously. It's the culture that we've kind of come upon. It's a toxic culture, but that's the culture we're on. It's like you gotta fit in somehow. And to fit in, you gotta know the ins and outs. Sadly, that's the way it is. And there's no reverting back to it. People aren't going to revert back to how things used to be just because, oh, well, you know, we can't possibly have these stuffs being leaked out, because at the end of the day, you have people behind the scenes who are going to leak shit to your local news reporters and Dave Meltzers and Brian Alvarez's and Sean Ross Sapps. That shit's going to happen. So there's no avoiding it. There's no avoiding it. Are fans ruin it for themselves? Yes. But guess what? They're going to keep ruining it for themselves, so there's no point even pointing it out. It's just going to keep fucking happening. Should we? I don't think so. But like I said, the genie's out of the bag. Kayfabe is dead. People understand wrestling is fake. There's no use in just acting like, oh, well, everything is real. Everything is make-believe. We understand that. So, I don't know. I felt like the initial question that was asked, he dodged it, and he wanted to shame the fans for not being casuals. That's what it felt like to me. You're not a casual. You are not playing into the old kayfabe act, so let's bury the little smarky smarks that watch NXT every single week. Yeah, nice try. Nice job. Yeah, I'm hope he's happy with himself, because he was trending on Twitter, not in a good way. Nice one, Papa H. Nice one. He also said something about Mickie James. It was regarding if they were going to have some NXT women appear on the NWA all-women show, then Mickie James is going to be producing. And Triple H basically said no. He basically said no. But then he said something very interesting. Equality is equality. If he did an all-men's show, he would get criticized for that. From a business standpoint, why do we have contractual status? It doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make any sense either. If we had an all-men's show, he would get criticized for that. Bro, wrestling basically is an all-men's show most of the time. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the hell was on his mind during this interview. Someone must have pissed him off before he went live here. That's all I got to say about that. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm done talking about WWE. Let's talk about Impact a little bit, because last week also was Impact Against All Odds, which I did not watch. Not gonna lie to you guys, I didn't watch the show. But on that show, we did have Kenny Omega defending the Impact World Championship against Moose. Somebody who I was like, you know what? If there was anybody who was going to defeat Kenny Omega, it would be Moose. But then I saw how early this match was happening. I was like, well, it's not going to be Moose now. If it was that Slammiversary, I would have been like, all right, I got my money on Moose. But it's not happening at Slammiversary. It happened in June. Moose did lose. This match did happen at Daly's Place, mind you, on AEW home territory. There was interferences by Don Callis and the Young Bucks that did end up causing Moose the title. Kenny Omega did retain. So it is now confirmed that we will be getting Kenny Omega defending the Impact World Championship at Slammiversary on July the 12th against Sami Callihan, who appeared on the show after the match is over. Kenny Omega versus Sami Callihan is a match that I never thought I would see. It's not a match I necessarily am craving to see, but an interesting match nonetheless. Sami Callihan is I would say one of the Impact guys, like one of the top. When I think of current day Impact Wrestling, I think of Sami Callihan because he's one of the most consistently pushed guys in Impact Wrestling. Like, I don't know how many times he's been the Impact World Champion, but I could definitely name a lot of pay-per-views where Sami Callihan main evented, where he had a big role to play. Like, he's all but the top guy over in Impact. Not the top guy right now, but has been a top guy for a long time. One of the more consistent ones. So when I think of, okay, if it's not Moose, who can beat Kenny Omega? Sami Callihan does sound like a top prospect. So hearing that, I'm like, okay, maybe we'll be Sami Callihan. If not Sami, then I don't know who else is gonna be. It's gonna be. It can't. I don't think it's gonna be Rich Swann beating Kenny Omega back for the championship. I don't think it's Rich Swann. Trey Miguel. Like, there's some other names on the roster, but I'm like, God, who sounds like somebody who would be the one to beat Kenny if it's not Moose? But I think it's probably Sami. But we'll see how the bill goes. That match isn't for another month, but we shall see in due time. New Japan Pro Wrestling. I did check out the first day of Kazuna Road. Not the entire show, just the opening 2 matches. Because I wanted to see my boys, Yuyamora and Yota Tsuji, run their gauntlet. I saw Yuyamora versus Minor Suzuki, and I loved that match. A lot of mat work in here. Minor Suzuki taking Yuya to the mat with all of his pancrest, lock and wrestling holds. It was very technical based. If you're a big fan of that, you're going to like this match a lot. I mean, Yuyamora is the young lion. He is the rookie, so he was upstaged a lot. But he did have a lot of comebacks in here. A lot of them were not towards the end of the match, where we did see, some actual wrestling moves like drop kicks and shit. But when we did get it, it was fiery. And Yuya, at some points, at like 1 or 2 times, it looked like he almost got the roll of victory on Suzuki. And I'm like, it's not going to happen. As Shota Umino never beat anybody when he was young lion. Not going to happen. But for a second, it's like, maybe he can do it. Maybe he can do it. But he kicked out every time. Suzuki did end up locking in a single leg Boston Crab on Yuya, and he made the rope the first time, only to get dragged away, then locked in a Lion Tamer like, basically single leg Boston Crab, and Yuya tapped out. And it was a good match. I enjoyed it. Young Lion bout. Minor Suzuki left the ring. He was kind of crawling towards him like, it's not over. It's not over. And then Minor Suzuki got into the ring and stomped on him. Put his foot on his chest and raised his arms up like, yeah, it's over, bitch. I said it's over, so it's over. Everybody go check out that match. And after that, we got Yota Tsuji versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. And that was also really good. Tanahashi did end up tapping out Yota Tsuji with the Clover Leaf. So another submission victory for Tanahashi and Suzuki. Yota Tsuji and Yuyamura also have more matches coming up. I believe we had Yota Tsuji versus Taichi. And I think today we even had Yota Tsuji versus, I want to say Yota Tsuji versus Taichi, and then Yuya versus Okada. I don't know. I think I might got it mixed up. I know somebody faced Okada today that I got to check out. Because I want to, like, Okada's boring. on a bad day, Okada's boring. On a good day, he's good. But against the young lion in a singles match, that's intriguing. So I want to see how they take that, what direction it goes in. Obviously, Okada's going to win. I don't believe for a single split second he's going to lose that match. But I'll check it out nonetheless. But we got some New Japan news to talk about. New Japan's Grand Slam in Yokohama and Tokyo Dome tours were canceled because of their state of emergencies in Japan. But they have been finally relocated. Relocated at least one of the shows. That one show that has been relocated was the Yokohama show, which was scheduled to take place on May 15th. That show is now going to be taking place at the MetLife Dome in Tokugawa, Japan, happening on September 4th and the 5th of 2021. The MetLife Dome is a pretty big arena. I did have the number written down somewhere, but I guess never mind. I guess I didn't write it down. Hold on, MetLife. Now, how many people we could pack into this arena? How many people we pack into the MetLife Dome? It says a max capacity of about 35,000 people into the MetLife Dome. Can they fill up that entire arena? I'm gonna say they're not gonna fill up that entire arena, but you know, it's it can be an outside stadium, can it be? No, it's an indoor stadium. I thought the roof could come off, but I guess the roof can't come off. So, indoor stadium. Gonna be really cool to see that, you know, stadium, aspect though. They're back in the dome. Nice to see. Nice to see. And then you wonder, but what about the Tokyo Dome? That will still be taking place, but, you know, as it was supposed to take place earlier this month on the 15th. I mean, late last month on the 29th of May. It has now been relocated to the 25th of July. And the original main event was going to be Will Ospreay versus Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. But as you guys know, Okada has recently lost his title opportunity already at Dominion to Shingo Takagi, and Will Ospreay's injured. And because of that, he had to relinquish the championship, and that's how we got Okada versus Shingo. So, the new main event of Wrestle Grand Slam in the Tokyo Dome, happening on July 25th, is Shingo Takagi versus Kota Ibushi for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. That's going to be an absolute banger. They had a great match at last year's G1 Climax. That was the first match, and I believe the only match so far. This match is going to hit very hard. Who do I think wins? I will save my thoughts for that show. I'll save my thoughts for that show, but I'm excited nonetheless. And let's talk a little bit about AEW. Now, I did not really care too much about last week's show. I did catch it, but I didn't really care too much for it. It was another show from AEW. They've really been just dragging their feet throughout this month. And I know they were just waiting to get back on the road, but like, it's been tough, bro. It's been tough. I feel them. I really do feel like they are just pushing through the rest of this month. They're basically crawling until they can finally get to that start, which is going to be at the very beginning of July. Earlier this week, we did have the announcement of the start of their TV tours. 4 big shows happening in July as soon as they hop on the road. The Road Rager show happening July 4th will be emanating from Miami, Florida. One of the matches on that show confirmed this week on Dynamite. Cody Rhodes versus QT Marshall for... I was about to say for. It's not for anything. It's happening for no fucking reason. It's going to be a bull rope match. You know, when this match is announced, there were some cheers in the arena. But then when it was announced on Twitter, a lot of people did not take too kindly to this match. I saw a lot of people on Twitter talking about, hey, why is this feud still going? Cody Rhodes this, Cody Rhodes that. And I was just sitting here, rubbing my hands together like, yes, hurt that motherfucker's ego. Hurt that motherfucker's ego. Knock him down the peg. And I hope they boo this match. Maybe it will send a message to Cody Rhodes that we don't want to see him in the fucking main... Because you know this match is main event of the show. You know that this match is main eventing that show. You know it's main eventing. So I just hope that the fans are just going to boo this match. But they're not going to. They're going to eat it up because it's going to be the first time in Miami. But why? Why are we getting another Cody Rhodes versus QT Marshall match? I thought this feud was over. We all know Cody's winning the match. Like, nobody believes that Cody Rhodes is losing to QT. Because QT already, quote-unquote, beat him by pinning him in a tag team match. So, bro, get out of here. Cody's winning. Like, this match doesn't need to happen, bro. It doesn't need to happen. But not even gonna get all worked up. Let's move on. Fyter Fest is coming back. It's going to be a 2-week event once again. Week 1 is going to be happening, I believe, in Miami as well. For whatever fucking reason, I did not pull up when these shows were happening. I just took down the dates. What is wrong with me? Hold on one second. Let me look this up. We're doing it live, baby. We are doing it live. I believe that show's happening in Miami as well. Okay, never mind. Never mind. Correct myself. That show's happening in Cedar Park, Texas, and that's going to be on July the 14th. Right? July the 14th? July 14th? July the 14th, yes. Fyter Fest Week 2 will be happening in Garland, Texas on July 21st. And AEW Fight for the Fallen will be happening in Charlotte, North Carolina. And that will be on July 28th. That show must be main evented by Kenny Omega. Now, with these 4 shows coming up, I can expect that on at least one of these shows, we'll see Kenny Omega main eventing for the World Championship. I expect it will be that North Carolina show, given, the whole North Carolina thing with Kenny Omega. As far as the other 2 shows, like I said, Cody and QT's main eventing Road Rager. Whippy. The Fyter Fest shows, I'm sure they'll be main evented by, the TNT Championship, the Women's Championship, Tag Team Championships. It's going to be a very crazy month in July, and I can't wait for it. I will be live for that Road Rager show. So you can all join me to shit on the match, Cody versus QT. But that's coming up. But also, we had a big announcement from Tony Khan today. Tony Khan announced that in September, they'll be returning back to tour, of course. They'll be back on the East Coast. One of the tours will be in Philadelphia, which is in October, which I'm excited for. I already have a ticket to from last year, which I didn't go to because of COVID. But on September 22nd, AEW will be live in Queens, New York from the Arthur Ashe Stadium. Yes, you heard that right. I said stadium. They will be live on a Wednesday from Arthur Ashe Stadium in Queens, New York. And they're calling the show AEW Grand Slam. So that's going to be possibly one of the biggest dynamites they've ever done, considering the arena. A 25,000 seat arena. Big show for them. What could possibly be the main event? What's going to be the matches going in? I don't know, but they're going to load that show up. What's questioning to me is that how they're going to pack a lot into a 2-hour show. My only guess is that because this is a stadium show, this is going to be a 3-hour Dynamite, which I'm all for because they haven't done a 3-hour Dynamite yet. Because I'll be honest, I'm not traveling to New York, even though New York is upstate and it's not only 2 hours. I'm not traveling to New York for a 2-hour show. I'm not doing it. It's got to be 3 or 4 hours if I'm traveling for any wrestling show. If I'm traveling for a 2-hour show, it's going to be within my state of Delaware or in like Pennsylvania. I'm not going to New York for a 2-hour Dynamite. I don't care how big it is. So I think it's going to be 3 hours. At least I'm expecting a 3-hour show. Or maybe they're going to do like a they're going to do like a Rampage taping. But no, Rampage? Yeah, maybe a Rampage taping and then Dynamite to make it 3 hours. I don't know how they're going to do it. But they're going to have to load that show up. Because I'm going to be honest. I know they sold out All Out. I know they sold out Double or Nothing 2019. I know they sold out All Out 2019 as well. I know AEW is capable of it. But 25,000 seats is a lot of people. And that's going to be the biggest show they've ever done. I don't know what they're gonna do to sell out that show, but they gotta do something. I don't know what it's gonna be. Maybe you throw Kenny versus a Hangman on there finally. I don't know what they're gonna do. I want you guys to comment down below. If you're Tony Khan, what big blow away mega main event are you doing to pull in people to come far and wide to attend this stadium show? Comment down below, let your boy know. I'm curious about what you guys think. And with all that being said, let's finally do a review of Stardom Tokyo Dream Cinderella. Stardom Tokyo Dream Cinderella just came up last Sunday, and what many fans are behesting as a show that held one of the greatest women's matches of all time. Do I honestly agree with that? The testament? I think I'll have to comment on it when we get to it. But let's start off with the beginning of the show. Actually, real quick, let me just say overall what I think about the show. I thought this was a really good, possibly even, I would say, what is it, great? I'm going to say bordering great, but not entirely great. Really, really, really good Cinderella show. I'm going to praise the hell out of Stardom here. Ever since, I'm going to say, ever since Yokohama Dream Cinderella last year, when they really started these dream shows, because, you know, they had Yokohama Dream Cinderella, they had, was it Summer Cinderella? Yokohama Summer Dream Cinderella, Osaka Dream Cinderella, then they had All-Star Dream Cinderella, Yokohama Dream Cinderella, now we're back at Tokyo Dream Cinderella. Ever since they've been doing this trend with the Cinderella shows, they've just been killing it. Like, Stardom has really filled the role of what NXT used to be, in my opinion. Like the takeovers. The takeovers used to be can't miss. How are they going to top it? Takeovers nowadays don't get that. I don't get that same feeling for it anymore. But I get that similar feeling when I watch these Stardom Dream shows. Because every Dream show, I feel like they're having something really great. That's drawing me back to why Stardom might be the best wrestling promotion going right now. I'm talking better than AEW. I'm talking better than New Japan. Better than WWE. Stardom might, I'm going to say might though. I don't know if it's definite yet. Might have to give it some more time. Might have to watch these shows more. Might just be the best wrestling company around right now. Might have to have a discussion about that soon. But let's talk about this show. The opening match was the semifinals of the Cinderella tournament. Unagi Sayaka versus Micah. Now, going into this match, this was probably the most hard to guess for me because I saw this going either way. Micah is one of the members of DDM who I think is the least experienced. I want to say Micah might be the least experienced because I know Nazi Boy's been doing it for a while. Sayuri's been doing it for a while. I think since 2015. Julia, I don't know how long Julia's been doing it, but I get the sense she's been doing it longer than I think Micah's like technically Micah's the rookie of DDM. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, she's the least experienced, but by no means is she bad. Unagi Sayaka is the least experienced of Cosmic Angels. And I think Unagi has definitely improved over the last several months that I've seen her. When she first came in, she was very green. She had like a few moves to her, and that was kind of it. Then they told this story with her that basically, I'm the weakling. I need Tam to put me through trials. She had Tam put her through a 7-match trial against, you know, wrestlers on the roster. She got her ass kicked, but she learned a thing or two from those trials. And now Unagi's become almost like the next, you know, the next coming, the new up and comer. I mean, she won the All-Star Dream Battle Royal. And now here we are. She's made it to the semifinals of the Cinderella tournament. And in my head, I'm thinking they pushing Unagi. Maybe she's going to the finals. Now, I'm still got my mind and my money on Sayakamatani, but I'm like, this could be a Unagi versus Saya finals. However, you got Micah. And as I always say it with me now, Donald Mundo never loses. So I couldn't add that out either. Now, as we got into this match, I thought it was good. Actually, no, it was decent. It was decent. A lot of good work in here, but nothing that was like super crazy. The beginning of the match was really Unagi trying to eliminate Micah, which was very made a lot of sense considering that Unagi has gotten all elimination victories during this tournament, and she won the All-Star Dream Rumble, a 30-woman battle royal. So she's almost like the battle royal queen right now. So it will make sense for her to try eliminate Micah because that's what's been working for her. She couldn't eliminate Micah. And then I like the story about how when it went to a traditional wrestling match, that's where Micah got the upper hand. Now, mind you, Micah and Unagi started around the same time. They both started in 2019. I don't know who has the month lead, but they both started around the same time. But it's pretty much a given here that Micah is the better ring talent. So once it came down to in-ring, even though Unagi put up a good fight, Micah stood in control, and she ended up winning the match with the Michinoku driver. She got the pin, and Micah makes it on to the finals of the Cinderella tournament, which led us to the next match, which was also the semifinals of the Cinderella tournament. We had Sayakamatani versus Himeka. Sayakamatani of Queen's Quest versus Himeka of Donna Del Mundo. So, this was slightly better than the last match, but like by no stretch of the match was it like, you know, a standout, all-out classic or anything. Now, Sayakamatani, the queen of Lucha Libre, the innovator of the shooting star press, the 450 splash, and the moonsault, came in here and she did her thing. Himeka has improved a lot since her first year in Stardom. I want to say Himeka came in like early 2020, maybe late. No, she definitely came in early 2020. When she first came into DDM as like, you know, the Jumbo Princess, she was kind of stiff, not gonna lie. And I'm not talking about, oh, she was knocking bitches out. Like, she was stiff as in like, you know, wrestling is mostly in body language. Their art is conveyed through their bodies in the facial expressions. And when I say Himeka was stiff, she didn't really evoke too much emotion in her body when she was having her matches. And it just came off as like, you know, green. It came off as, oh, she's still learning. But you know what I mean? If you learn, I ain't gonna say and be like, oh, you piece of shit, oh, you're a shitty wrestler. Like, I ain't gonna do that to these women. But I will say, I think she's gotten a lot better since then. I saw, like, you know, a lot more emotion in her face. She looked like she knew more of what to do. Even though I believe Sayakamatani has been around in lesser time than Himeka, I think Sayakamatani is slightly less experienced. Sayakamatani has just, like, excelled past so many of the women on this roster. It's ridiculous. And this podcast is going to be a Sayakamatani dick sucking session, so get ready for that. But Sayakamatani has just like excelled so many other women on this roster in such a short period of time. It's ridiculous. Like I said, good stuff in here, but wasn't too crazy. Sayakamatani did impress me a lot in this match, especially at the end when she hit a fisherman driver onto Himeka to get the pin. Now, the fisherman driver is a lifting move. It's a lifting suplex into a driver. Himeka, now I don't think Himeka's that tall or that big. I just think the other women on the roster are just small, which is probably accurate. But, you know, in comparison, Himeka and Sayakamatani, Himeka's like 5, maybe 6 inches taller than Sayakamatani. So to Himeka, Saya is almost like, you know, a shorty, and Himeka's a giant. So seeing her lift up Himeka, I'm like, oh, goddamn, I see you, Saya. But she hit that, and she got the pin. So Sayakamatani, as I predicted, makes it to the finals. Then we got into the next match. Azumi and Momo Watanabe of Queen's Quest versus Natsupoi and Julia of Donna Del Mundo versus Mina Shirakawa and Tam Nakano of the Cosmic Angels. And before this match got underway, the announcer got into the ring and announced that this will be a team switch. And after the team switch, we got the new teams of Natsupoi and Azumi, Mina Shirakawa and Momo Watanabe, and Tam Nakano and Julia. And this made a lot of sense because all the people in these teams had past rivalries. Natsupoi and Azumi had a rivalry going into All-Star Dream Cinderella, which in my opinion is one of the best bangers of the year. Do yourself a favor and go seek out Natsupoi versus Azumi. It's a killer of a match. Mina Shirakawa and Momo Watanabe, they had a short little feud. It wasn't anything on a dream show, but they had a short feud about a few months ago. I think Mina probably came out the winner in that feud because it's Momo. Momo loses all the time now. And then obviously Tam Nakano and Julia had that long running feud from last year going into this year that led to Tam Nakano beating Julia for the Wonder of Stardom Championship, and it led to Julia getting her head shaved. You guys know how that goes. So seeing all these women team up, it's like, okay, this is kind of interesting. And this was really fun. I enjoyed this match a lot. We saw a lot of women in this match. You know, they were having fun, doing their poses. I think one of my favorite things about this match was Momo and Mina, because you had Mina, she does her whole, like, you know, she grabs her hair. And Mina knows she's hot. Mina's hot, and she knows it. So she flaunts her body off and all this kind of stuff. And during this match, at one point, she does it, and she looks at Momo, and she's taunting Momo like, "Oh, you can't do what I do." Da 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 da. And then Momo does it too, and it's so funny because then Mina locks her off the rope, and Momo falls. I just thought that was so funny because it's like, Momo's still getting jobbed out here. I'm not laughing at Momo getting jobbed out, but just the segment in general. Natsupoi and Azumi had some fun. I love them as a tag team. Tam Nakano and Julia, they didn't have a lot of fun because, they still hate each other. Still some animosity. Julia's was bald because of Tam. But they made it work for as much as they can. It was just a lot of goofy shenanigans. And even though goofy can be kind of off-putting at times, I thought this is really fun. Maybe not something you had to go out of your way to see, but I enjoyed this a lot more than I did the last 2 matches. And it was Azumi and Natsupoi got the win here. Azumi did a misdirection on Tamina and did a tilt-a-whirl into a roll-up pin and got the victory. So Azumi and Natsupoi won that match. Afterwards, he was handed an envelope, and I don't know what that means. I'm assuming it means a future championship match, which is I'm going to assume a future tag team championship match, because it's like, well, why would they give it to Azumi, not Natsupoi? Because even though Azumi got the win, Natsupoi's on her team, and that would cause some dissension, which is fine because they're not in the same faction, but you know what I mean. So I'm guessing a future tag team championship match, which, listen, bro. If you can give me Azumi and Natsupoi in a tag team, I'll take it. Because they fucking killed it in this match. Every team in this match killed it. Every team in this match had something going on. I liked it. Natsupoi, I think Natsupoi faked out Momo's handshake. They got something else going on there. But let's head into the next match. We had Hanan, Kaguma, Rin Kadokura, Starlight Kid, and Mayu Iwatani of Stars versus Ruka, Fukujin Death, Saki Kashima, Konami, and Natsuko Tora of Oedo Tai. This was a 5-on-5 elimination match, so bear with me as I go through the eliminations. I'm mad Konami had my girl Death Yamasan with a ribbon around her neck like she's a damn dog. I'm like, can't stand this. But Ruka was the first one eliminated after a dropkick assisted crucifix pin from Mayu. So Ruka, bye. I mean, Ruka, okay. So when I first started watching Stardom, Ruka's a child, so I'm not gonna sit here and like bag on her, but Ruka was not good. She was kind of trash. But she's gotten better. I mean, like, by got better, she's improved, but she's not good still. She's still not good, but she's getting better day by day. So her being paired off with Oedo Tai is working. Now, I don't know exactly where Rina was in this match, because I know Rina's also part of Oedo Tai, but then Hino's missing too. So I don't know, maybe they were off or something. Anyway, so then we got a triple splash combination from Stars, followed by a bridging German suplex from Kaguma, and got the elimination on Konami, which is pretty sick. But Konami got eliminated. I'm like, god damn, y'all still not pushing Konami. That's kind of crazy. I'm just waiting for Jungle Kyona to come back so we can finally get that Konami Jungle Kyona feud that we're so long overdue for. Fukujin Death puts out Hanan with a mid-rope senton, so Hanan's out. Mayu managed to somehow double eliminate both Fukujin Death and Rin Kadokura with a drop kick off the apron onto both women, which they went over the top rope. Now, I don't know how and why she thought it was a smart idea to drop kick both of them. I think she didn't do it. She did it on accident. But she eliminated Rin Kadokura, which is her partner. I'm like, all right, come on, Mayu. What the fuck? So then, Mayu tries for a high-angle dragon suplex, a finisher onto Saki. Saki counters this into an inward mousetrap roll-up. You know, similar to the thing that, not Darby Allin, but Orange Cassidy does, that mousetrap roll-up pin. And Shiatsu gets the 3 count, eliminates Mayu. And I was pretty shocked by that because, you know what, I should have been. Because Saki Kashima and Mayu Iwatani have a feud that goes way back. They have a, like, you know, a long relationship dating back to like the early days of Stardom. So I shouldn't be too surprised by that. But it was still shocking because, you know, Mayu, even though she's not the current ace of the promotion because, you know, Utami's in that spot, Mayu is very much still the heart and soul of Stardom. So whenever the heart and soul gets pinned, you're like, oh shit, that's a big deal. It's like, it would be like if Roman Reigns got pinned. It was like, maybe not Roman Reigns because he's a champion. Bad example. What's a good example in WWE? That would be like if Seth Rollins got pinned. Like, you understand, Seth Rollins is not the champion, but he's still a big deal. That would be like if John Moxley got pinned in AEW. Like, he's not the champion, but he was a former champion. He's still very much a very important role in AEW. So, like, if he got pinned, that's a big deal. Whoever pins him, they probably get a push soon. So I'm like, okay, Saki pinned her. That's cool. That's cool. Starlight Kid and Saki began exchanging roll-ups until SLK secured a pin, and it came down to the final 2. Starlight Kid of Stars and Natsuko Tora of Oedo Tai. Now, per the rules of this match, if Oedo Tai wins this match, whoever takes the last pinfall of Stars will be forced to join Oedo Tai. So you're like, if Natsuko Tora wins this match, SOK has to join, Oedo Tai, and if SOK wins, then they have bragging rights. So SOK was trying for multiple roll-ups. She even got one like it was a 3 count, but then Fukujin Death pulled the referee out of the ring, and I was so mad. It was like a Don Callis moment, and I'm like, but Fukujin Death, you don't like Oedo Tai. What are you doing? So then Konami came in, and she started dishing some damage onto SOK, and Tora got back in the ring, hit a frog splash, and shockingly, that didn't do it. She ended up hitting 2 fireman carry slams onto Starlight Kid while Mayu watched on, tied up in the ring apron by her own attire straps, mind you. She hits those 2 fireman carries onto SOK and gets the pin. Oedo Tai winning, and by the stipulation, Starlight Kid is forced to join Oedo Tai. Interesting indeed. Starlight Kid has been she's been a Stars faithful probably since her debut. I don't know if Starlight Kid debuted in Stars. All I know is she's been a part of Stars for like years now. Like, she's been a part of Stars for a long time. So to see her get traded off to Oedo Tai is like, damn. And it led to this really tearful moment where you see Mayu and SOK, they're crying, departed ways. SOK's like, no, don't leave me. And Mayu's like, oh, I'll come back for you, I swear. I love Stardom's art of storytelling. Even though I don't understand a lick of Japanese, I can clearly see where they're heading, how the story's progressing, and why it is that way. And because they're women, they're able to cry. Because men, they trying to be man, they trying to be buff. They can't fucking cry. Men don't cry. Shit like that. These women can actually go on here and cry and show sometimes because they're women, they get over emotional. But you actually get that emotion out of them that you can't get out of some men. And at times, you get that type of badass feel that you get like men can give off. It's like Stardom has that great combination. I'll talk more about it when we get to the main event. But Oedo Tai wins. My only, and it's not even a nitpick, it's just an observation. Oedo Tai has like too many members right now. There's Natsuko Tora, Konami, Saki Kashima, Fukujin Death, Ruka, Rina. I guess B Priestley left, so you can't count B Priestley. But now you have SOK. That's like 7 people. They don't need 7 people, bro. That's too many people. That is too many people. So hopefully, this feud doesn't last. I mean, the SOK being there doesn't last too long, because they do not need 7 people. And then they'll probably, and if Natsu Sumire comes back, whenever that is, then I'll be 8 people. Like, they do not need that many people at one time. Just an observation, though, not really a complaint. But let's head to the co-main event of the evening. Sayakamatani versus Micah for the finals of the Cinderella tournament. This was a really good match. I enjoyed it. And the beginning of it was kind of odd because you had Sayakamatani, the aerial assassin herself. Sayakamatani. She had a pre-existing injury. Not Saya did. Micah had a pre-existing injury, which was her leg. And Saya was doing limb targeting. She was aiming at Micah's leg. And it was weird because it's like, usually when you see limb targeting in wrestling, it's the heel working over the babyface. But in this, it's the babyface working over the heel. And it's like, well, I mean, I'm not feeling sympathetic for Micah because Micah's not a good guy. Micah's part of DDM, the bad guys. At least I'm supposed to believe the bad guys. So it's like, well, this is odd. And then on top of that, Sayakamatani, she don't do limb targeting. Like, this is not her forte. I ain't gonna lie, I love her to death, but her limb targeting is a little weak. And then on top, let me add on top of this. I'm not gonna make it seem like it's all Saya's fault, because Micah, she didn't sell her leg very well either. There were points of time, like really after the limb targeting stopped, Micah just forgot all about her leg hurting. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess that didn't make any sense. That literally added nothing to this match, the beginning portion. But as it progressed, it got really good. Micah was dominating. Sayakamatani had a babyface comeback. And then after that point, got balanced out. The huge turning point of this match is when Micah was starting to take over. She was hitting running lariats onto Saya. Hit one, Saya goes down. Saya gets up. She tries to fight her off. Micah hits another. You're like, oh shit, she's going for a third one. She goes for the third one. And Saya motherfucking Kamatani hits a standing Spanish fly. John Morrison, take notes. Let me stop. Anyway, so after she hits that Spanish fly, actually, any wrestler who does a Spanish fly off the top rope, take notes. Following this, she then hits her fisherman driver. And the grand finale of it all, because the fisherman driver's her finisher, but she has to go for the final chapter, the real thing to end it all. She goes to the top rope and hits a Phoenix Splash. Seth Rollins was shaking in his boots when he saw it happen. So she hits the Phoenix Splash. She goes for the pin. 1, 2, 3. And as I predicted, as Tyler Damas said, as most things he said is always true, Sayakamatani is the winner of the 2021 Stardom Cinderella tournament. Just gotta clap it up for my girl. I saw this, bro. I literally said it was gonna happen. I manifested this win because I knew she was going to win this shit. She was on the track, and I said it earlier in the year. She's gonna win this tournament, and then she's gonna challenge Tam. And then what do you know? At the very end of the show, she came out and she challenged Tam for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. So we back at that match on July 4th, which I'm excited for. It's going to kick a lot of ass. And Sayakamatani might walk out the champion, but I'll save my predictions for a later date. Let's now talk about the main event. Utami Hayashishita defends her World of Stardom Championship against Syuri. My, oh my. This was, bar none, a phenomenal match. You guys know I am not very heavy on giving matches 10 out of 10. But I would give this a 10 out of 10. It was damn near, almost pretty much perfect. Even though it was a slow start, you know, and you come to expect this from matches like this. They're always slow to start. They're never really out the gate running at each other. Sometimes, but it's very rare when you see that happening. You know, they're setting a tone, setting a pace. And they're just going at each other. And mind you, I didn't really pay too much attention to the time limit. I'm just watching these women go at each other. You know, they're on the mat. Syuri's obviously getting the upper hand because, you know, she has that UFC background. She knows exactly how to get out of submissions, how to apply submissions correctly, all that kind of stuff. And she has a striking background. Utami's just a powerhouse who knows how to get her way around the ring. Utami, I got to give her more credit here. Utami is just such a great seller. And that helped a lot in this match because whenever Utami would take damage, it looked like she was on the verge of death. She ain't Dolph Ziggler levels of selling, but her selling is pretty damn fine. Like, pretty excellent. Syuri in this match, through her screaming and her facial expressions, she made all of her pain worthwhile too. And about 25 minutes into this match, Utami gets Syuri outside the ring. And she wheelbarrow suplexes Syuri head first into the apron. And I was worried that homegirl had a concussion. But then she made it into the ring at the 19 count and battled out for another 5 minutes. And once we got to that 29-minute mark, they're battling it out. They're going at each other. And they reach a time limit draw. And I was mad because I'm sitting here like, what the fuck? Y'all can't do this at the fucking Cinderella. This is the fucking big show. This is the main. Y'all can't do this. I was about to fucking punch the screen, but I was so mad. But I'm sitting here like, wait a minute, there's still like a lot of time left in this show. So what's going to happen then? So they call for the bell. Syuri and Utami are still going at, still punching the hell out of each other, still elbowing each other. And Syuri gets up and she's like, basically she says, I'm not going anywhere. I don't know what they said. They spoke Japanese. But she's, to paraphrase in English, she's like, I'm not going anywhere till we get a rematch. Utami basically accepts and round 2 starts. And they get an extension of this match. And right out the gate, intense elbow battle ensues. And they are just going at each other. I mean, they're doing fucking, what's the move called that Johnny Gargano does? They're doing, not Tree of Woe. You know what I'm talking about. The move where Johnny Gargano throws his opponent into the ring apron. She did that onto Utami. dropping her on her head, her neck, all these top rope moves. Syuri at one point put Utami on the top rope and arm dragged her off into an inverted armbar. And bro, the way it looked, I thought for a hot second Syuri's going to win this match. I ain't even going to cap. I thought Syuri had that at that point because this match has been going on for like 35 minutes. I'm like, I don't know how much longer they're going to go. And Syuri reaches the rope. Well, almost did. Then she grabs both arms, similar to how Deonna Purrazzo grabs both arms during her virtuoso lot to make her pro to tap out. And I'm like, oh shit, it's really about to be over. But Utami makes the ropes, and I'm like, holy shit. So then, it's move after move. Syuri has tried all that she can, but Utami keeps kicking out. The only nitpick I had sometimes with Stardom is that sometimes they do this thing similar to how American Indies do it, similar to how Raw Weights used to do it, similar to how AEW does it sometimes, where they will do all these big moves and they get kicked out of. And I'm like, that could have been the end of the match right there. I don't know if I would have kicked out of that, but hey, I'm loving the match. Not gonna complain, but like, I would have had that been the finish. Because Syuri, at one point, Syuri just gets her up for Julia's Glorious Buster, and she drops Utami right on her goddamn neck. And I'm like, oh my god, that's it. Goes for the pin, and at the last millisecond, and I mean the referee basically held this count, because in America that would have been a 3 count, have been over. But like at the last millisecond, Utami lifts her shoulder up, and I literally wrote, Utami kicks out again. WTF is gonna put it on. I literally wrote that in my notes. So Syuri goes for a final kick. Utami catches her, and with all of her might, and power bombs her. And I'm like, how is Utami even standing right now? She got hit with like 4 fucking moves. Falling to mad desperation. All the energy is out of these women. They're trying to get back up to their feet. Utami gets up to her feet, and she gets her up for her twisting crucifix bomb, which is her finisher. And I'm like, this gotta be it. She hits it. Syuri's kind of close to the rope, but I'm not paying attention. 1, 2, and Syuri reaches the rope. I'm like, woo, what is going to end it? I'm saying, like, what is going to end this match? What is going to end this match? So they're slowly rising up to their feet. Now it's just a trade-off of kicks, axe bombs, punches, elbows, until they both collapse. After Syuri hits a kick to the face, Utami collapses, Syuri collapses. They're both exhausted. The referee's counting 1, 2, 3, counting, and neither women are moving. And I'm like, oh my god, somebody's gotta get up. Somebody's gotta get up. She's counting. He gets to 10, and they're both counted out. And I'm like, oh no. So neither will make it up, and it's a draw yet again. A second draw. And at that point, you're like, we ain't gonna do a third draw. And I'm sitting here thinking maybe they're gonna do a third match, but I'm like, that'd be kind of overkill. So they end it here. And by that result, Utami Hayashishita retains the World of Stardom Championship. And this was so awesome, so beautiful. Is that as Utami is getting up to her, like, she's not getting up to her feet, she's basically dead on the mat. You see Syuri is, because she realizes that she's the one who put out the challenge. Like, Syuri challenged Utami for her match because she beat Utami in a battle royal. Mind you, history of this is that they had a match at the 5-Star Grand Prix, time limit draw. They had their second match last month during the Cinderella tournament, and Syuri eliminated Utami to get this match. She didn't pin her, didn't tap her out, she eliminated her. So in Syuri's mind, she has not yet truly beaten Utami. So we get to this match, and in the first 30 minutes, she couldn't do it, and she got a draw. Then she tries, this is basically her third try beating Utami, and she still couldn't do it. And when she realizes that she still couldn't do it, she just bawls out. She just starts crying her eyes out. And you can literally see her crying in a corner. And there's this amazing shot of Utami in the corner crying, holding the like ring post. As I can't describe it any better. You gotta watch this match to see it. But it's this she's in the forefront. And in the background, you see Utami being lifted up to her, like, to a sitting position as the referee's wrapping the belt around her. And Syuri slowly turns around, and she's almost like, you you. And she slowly crawls over and she slaps her in the face, and she already like rolls out of the ring, still hysterically crying as she's carried out of the ring, carried out of the arena by Micah. It shit shivers up my spine, bro. Like, I literally got thrown back to my second match ever watching New Japan. Because the first match I ever watched from New Japan was in 2014. And it was Finn Balor, Prince Devitt at the time, Prince Devitt versus Low Ki versus Kota Ibushi at Wrestle Kingdom 7. The second match I ever watched from New Japan, which I would say made me a fan of New Japan, was Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Kazuchika Okada from Wrestle Kingdom 9. And I will never forget that finish to the day I die. Because Tanahashi wins the match. And as Okada is walking away, you just see this shot of Okada crying. I didn't know the story. I didn't have to know the story. All I knew was that image is burnt to my head. This grown-ass man cried as he left the ring and was taunted by his opponent. And that sat with me. Because I wonder if that Okada ever got the win back. And he did, of course. Okada went on to become a big legend. But, like, it hit me like that emotion, that level of storytelling and the craft of pro wrestling is why I fucking love it. And to see Syuri and how they crafted that shot and how they made it work, and to see the story they're telling here, like, this has to end. It has to end in a no time limit match with Syuri beating Utami. Like, I don't know who else is set up to beat Utami right now, but after this match, it's got to be Syuri. Like, Syuri's story is literally right in front of you. Literally right in front of you at this point. I have no bigger investment in a story in Stardom right now outside of Tam and Saya. And not to discard any other stories because they're all really good. But this story of Syuri and Utami is cutting me deep. And the next Cinderella show is on July 4th. I'm just saying Stardom needs to do a no time limit match or a sudden death match. I don't know what kind of match they got to do, but it's got to be either no time limit or 2 out of 3 falls between Utami and Syuri. It's basically the Kenny Omega and Okada of Stardom right now. Or if you want to go back to what I say in the Okada versus Tanahashi. Like, the ace is Utami, and Syuri's desperately trying to, get that win, but she just can't. She just can't beat Utami. She didn't beat Mayu last year, and she couldn't pin Utami this time. Oh, man, it's so beautiful. Do I think this is the greatest women's match of all time? I think I'm going to have to watch this match again, maybe a second or third time to form that opinion. I've watched it only one time, so I can't sit here and say it's the greatest match ever. Because, one time viewing, you ride a high. I will say this much. It is one of the greatest women's matches I've seen. And possibly the best women's match Stardom has ever had. Now, that's also the thing. Stardom has had so many great matches that at this point, if you are not convinced that this promotion is one of the best in the world, you are either ignoring reality or you're lost in some other universe. Because Stardom is on the planet right now and they're letting their presence known, and you better acknowledge it. Because I sure the fuck am. But guys, I'm going to end it out here. That was Chill Spill Podcast episode 52. What did you guys think? Comment down below. Let your boy know. I love you all as always. And I will see you all next week for episode 53. Peace out, guys.